Next part of our section on operations with real numbers will be the rules associated with multiplying or dividing real numbers. Multiplication just breaks down to be repeated addition. So when we look here at this example, we see we have 3 times 2. And so this just says we need 3 2's. We need 3 2's. And so we take 1, 2, 3, 2, 3 2's, and we add those up together, and that's how we get 6. Think of it as 2 3 times. Same thing with 3 times negative 2. We want 3 negative 2's. So we have a negative 2 plus a negative 2 plus a negative 2 is negative 6. And this understanding helps us break down the division as well. Just like subtraction is so closely related to addition, it's adding the opposite. Division is multiplication by reciprocals. It's the same concept. So when we have 6 divided by 3, what we're doing is we're taking 6 and breaking it into 3 groups. We want 3 groups of equal size or magnitude. We want 3 groups of equal size with the number 6. And so when we look backwards at what we had for multiplication, we see that we have 3 groups of 2 give us that 6. And so when we take 6 and break it up into groups, 3 groups, those group sizes, the group size is 2. And then conversely, if we take negative 6 and we break it up into 3 groups of equal size, we break it into 1/3. Okay, we take it into thirds. And if we think about like a pizza, where each slice represents a number, okay? And so I take this pizza and I break it up into thirds, just like we did over here. We could do the same thing over here. We take this pizza and we break it up into thirds. Each of those groups would have to be a 2. Well, in order to get negative 6, each of these groups would need to be a negative 2 in order to get those thirds, those 3 groupings. And so that's how we can see that negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. So multiplication and division have this property that when we multiply or divide 2 numbers that have the same sign, whether they are both positive or both negative, then we end up with a positive product or quotient. If we multiply or divide 2 numbers with different signs, one is positive, the other is negative, or the other way around, we get negative product or quotient. Doesn't matter which one is larger magnitude. If they're the same sign, it's positive. If they're different signs, it's negative. If we take the product or quotient of 0 and any real number, so 0 times anything, or if we take 0 divided by anything, the result is always 0. However, if we switch that around and we take any real number and we divide it by 0, it is always undefined. And what I want you to do is I want you to think about it as this. I want you to take 10 people, and put them in 0 groups. 0 groups. That is what 10 divided by 0 is. Well, that statement or that question or that prompt doesn't make sense. I can't take 10 people and put them in no groups because the groups don't exist. So it's undefined. And so we can go through and we can multiply and divide as indicated, and we want to think about ahead of time, is my answer going to be positive or negative? These are the same signs, so it'll be a positive. We get positive 9. These are different signs, so it'll be negative. We get negative 0.48. Since this is 0, it is neither positive nor negative, so we just get a result of 0. 0 times anything is 0. Here we have to do it in multiple steps. So when we multiply these together, it's positive. But then when we take the positive and multiply it by the negative, now we get a negative value. And then when we multiply the negative by another negative, then we get another positive value. So let's work through this piece by piece. 8 times 2 gives me 16. We still have times -1 and times -2. Then 16 times negative 1 is negative 16. We still have times negative 2, which gives me a positive 32. Fractions are just division, so it's going to be negative because they have different signs, so it gives us negative 4. The same sign means we'll have a positive 4. Different signs again means it's negative. We have multiplication by reciprocals, so this is 5, negative 5 over 8 times 1/5, which gives us negative 1/8. Negative 1. We're dividing by 0, so I want you to take this 8 and I want you to split it up into no group. Put them in no group. No groups of 0, okay, into 0 groups. So it's going to be undefined. But 0 divided by 27 is just going to be 0. Split 0 up into 27 groups. How much will be in each of those groups? Nothing. We have 0. Now this is a really important question that shows up a lot. It's called fraction equivalency. So what I want you to think about, in division, does the position of the negative sign change the value of the quotient? Okay, and so I've got 3 different examples here. And so we start with negative 12 divided by 3. And if you take that and evaluate it, you could use your calculator. Negative 12 divided by 3. Since they're different signs, we know it's going to be a negative quotient. And we divide 12 by 3 and we get negative 4. Now if I take 12 and I divide it by negative 3, again they have different signs, so I know it's going to be a negative quotient. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So we see that these two have the same solution. And then we can look at the last one with example C. And this is, let's take the quotient of 12 and 3. And then once we get it, we make it negative. So we have 4. We make that answer negative. So we get negative 4. And so we can see we have a negative sign in 3 different locations, but they all equal each other. So no, the position of the negative sign does not change the value. The only thing that would be different is if I had a fourth example here, negative 12 over negative 3. Well, now this isn't a negative divided by a positive or a positive by a negative. It's a negative divided by a negative, which is going to be a positive quotient, which gives us a positive 4. So it's not going to be the same as this one. So that gives us our fraction equivalency rule, that if a and b are real numbers, as long as b is not 0, then it doesn't matter if it's negative a divided by b, or a divided by negative b, or negative quotient of a and b, they will all be equivalent.